What was going on in your life before we worked together?
Um, it's an interesting question because, and this is a good thing, I feel pretty removed from that self. And so it's hard for me to kind of go back there. I was kind of thinking about it this morning. And I think before a lot of my kind of decision making was impacted by one, feeling stuck. And I think I was feeling stuck because I was really focused on this kind of like right and wrong approach to a lot of what I was doing, whether that be in personal relationships or my career. And, when you feel like you're doing the right thing by staying in a job that looks really good on paper, and yet you're miserable in real life, it starts to kind of suck the life out of you to a point where you're like, I need help. And that's kind of where I reached out to you. Well, sort of. We reached out to each other kind of. But I admitted, like I just need help. So
Totally. Yeah. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. So if you're going to get specific, how are you feeling then?
um stuck. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was, battling anxiety attacks and was in like really anxious, depressive states. Um, I was feeling, you know, a bit unfulfilled in what I was doing, what my contribution was to the world and work and feeling like I wasn't my best self in my personal relationships.
What do you think you saw in that initial conversation with me, which had you say, okay, yeah, this is the time, this is the right thing to do?
That's a good question. I think there was a vulnerability from your perspective that allowed me to open up a little bit more. I think there was this humanness to the way that you communicated that didn't feel like a sales pitch. It felt like someone who could help. And I think that ultimately, you know, I think the timing was perfect in terms of, I think literally the night before I had an anxiety attack and I was like, I need help, I need help, I need help. And then the next day it was like, here's an opportunity for help. And so I think like my personal story, there was a bit more of just like, this was the prime time for me. But then in terms of like other people coming to you, I think there's this vulnerability and humanness and generosity of like, hey, let's have a session together. If you like it, great. If you don't, great. I'm here for you. So that was really kind of eased my worries in terms of what can I lose here? Nothing. So
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. So I'm really curious because it's been a while since we've really got a chance to speak together. So what's happened both during the time that we were working together and what's happening now since that time?
yeah, I mean a lot, right? I feel like there was so much progress that was made together um, in a very short amount of time, honestly. I think the intentionality from both parties really allowed us to like see this hyper growth in terms of getting over blockages and in terms of like coming from a state of curiosity instead of right and wrong. I think that was maybe the biggest thing that I kind of came out of our time together with was I think I was feeling stuck because I thought I was doing the right thing by staying in a career that I was making me feel like I needed to escape from it. And I think shifting that perspective to a point of curiosity allowed me to be a lot more creative in terms of creating the life that I actually did want to live. And it might not look like, it might be scary financially at first, or it might not look like an equal to like what's on paper from what you're doing before, but it's so much more fulfilling. So as that was our time together, and I think now and we were kind of chatting about this before, but I think that I'm just at a place of so much more peace and rest, and being curious and being able to give myself space to learn what I like and what I don't like. I think that's something, and I didn't mention this before, but I really didn't know what I liked because I was so consumed with other people's expectations and um, the way that they perceived me. And so I really wanted to please everyone, and I lost who I was in the process. And I think now, even just last week, I took a day and I went to the art museum and I walked around the park and, looked at sculptures and like had time with a good friend. And I just was so thankful for the peace that I have in my life right now of, like you said, being able to look up and and it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It feels like kind of just part of who I am.
So beautiful. And just as an observer, what it seems to me like one of the things that you really wanted when we were working together was to make a bigger social impact. And as I see you in the world, that's really what you're doing. Like the medical prosthetics work is extraordinary. And I know you've got a team of different people who support that work, but to have the courage to take it on, like I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. It really is. And I think, the first time that I even introduced to you that like, this is what I actually studied, this is what I actually used to do and what I'm passionate about, you could see it on my face then, and you can see it on my face now. I get very passionate and emotional talking about it because it is one of those things that feels so true to who I am, that I truly just want to use my skills and talents to make an impact on the world. And I was trying to do that in different ways. And I think it took the right investment, the right time, investment in myself, investment in actually putting time into researching what does that look like for the right opportunity to come in place for me.
Just think it's beautiful. I love everything you share, and what I see about you is you give people an opportunity to be seen and heard in a way which is just rare given what they're dealing with in this, the world of custom prosthetics. And that is an amazing gift.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, so this month is Face Equality International Week is at the end of this month, and their whole theme this year is "We Will Not Hide." And I think that's just so cool because it's exactly what you've described and exactly what you've been able to see in me. And to have someone in that support role, to be able to see the best in someone, sorry, is just, yeah, is like that's all you can ask for out of a coach, out of a teammate, out of someone who really just wants the best for you and sees that best and pulls it out. And so it truly was aligned with like what the goal is in terms of across the globe. What we're trying to do here is to bring people out of hiding, to let them be seen, to let them enjoy life like anyone else without discrimination.
If someone who's thinking about working with me, what would you say to that person who's on the fence?
I mean, I think it's worth it. I think it is one of those things that it's one of the best investments, excuse me, you can make for yourself, is to invest in, I think, not only your mental health, but just giving yourself a new perspective to see the world when you're feeling like you're in a place that you feel stuck. And I think sometimes we get in a spot where we just need a hand to kind of pull us out of the hole. And I think that in my case, you were that hand. And I think that there's probably many, many others that could use that hand.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really get the love and the generosity from you. So it is really wonderful to see how far you've come. And I'm really excited to just keep watching your journey and supporting you however I can, because I believe in you.
Yeah, and I'll say that too. So to a future client, I haven't worked with Sam in a few months, and yet he still checks in on me. He still supports me from afar and likes all my posts, and is my cheerleader, writing these comments on good things that are happening in my life. And so it really is, it's a genuine friendship and connection that's fostered through working together.
Thanks, McKenzie. Yeah, it's special. Like you're always important to me. Like that's just always going to be the case.
Thank you.